I'm Darin Johnstone. I'm principal of Darin Johnstone Architects and design faculty at SCI-Arc. We've been working with ArtCenter since 2013 or 2014. About, I think, 4 years ago, the school purchased this building at 1111 South Arroyo Parkway, and we started doing renovations level by level. When we first started designing the gallery, the program brief was really for a self-contained space, like an interior renovation. But as we started to work on it in more detail, especially considering the idea of the pathway of the automobile moving around and through, there was what I'm calling this kind of exterior turn where we flipped the project inside out. We looked much more closely at some more fundamental precedents. So we were looking at the ground level of Villa Savoye. And so really the way that the automobile kind of creates the architecture in terms of its turn and pathway in. And we were literally kind of cribbing those radial curvatures and extrusions and using them to condition pathways within the gallery.
Peter Mullin's automobile collection is based on World War I, 1930s, up into that period of French vehicles, right? Which was all about curves and lines. Very much the time of Villa Savoye, right? Very much about the automobile developing into what it is today. But if you look at the vehicle history, right? The radius of a wheel turning, the radius of a car, the size of a vehicle, right? Those are human dimensions, and they haven't changed.
The building itself sits at the end of the historic 110 freeway. So as you're exiting the 110 freeway to the north, the 1111, this building that we're in, it's kind of a gateway into the city in a way. There was this idea that because of the way that the project's situated in the context, that the automobile itself kind of becomes an instrument for viewing the project and for viewing the art within. And so there's this kind of scenographic path as you exit the 110 freeway to the north, or as you come along Arroyo Parkway to the south. Then there are these trajectories which allow you to kind of view the project and also view into the project as well.
There's unlimited possibilities when we think about a gallery that sits at the end of the historic 110 freeway that has 140,000 visitors traveling by it every day, right? And how do they experience that gallery? And how are we communicating to them not only what we do, but what's actually being done around the world? The unique part about this gallery is that it allows us that opportunity to say art and form and sculpture is not just something to put in a box, but it can bleed through, and it can be experienced from the exterior, it can be experienced from the interior, it can be experienced from the automobile.
Once we kind of captured that slice of space on the exterior, I mean, we knew that we somehow had to protect it, you know, from the urban environment, but also allow for these views in. And we started pretty early to look at the manifestation of the piece as fins. It's interesting when you look at it through the lens of these kind of pathways. You have the opportunity where it's opaque on the oblique and then transparent on the perpendicular. That led us to think about the possibility for a kind of lenticular effect, meaning you read it graphically one way from one direction and then read it graphically another way from another direction. When we design the space, we design these extra large openings so that there are these glass doors that kind of slip out of the way and then allow for this pathway through and around the project. There's this kind of spatial moment that I call the splice, where you're standing with the line of glazing like right at the midpoint of your view, but there are these moments where they almost look like you splice them together in Photoshop. This is like the thinnest slice of space, so those are my favorite moments.